Good afternoon, all. Great. Thanks for asking.
This is an obvious coach now, but what do you expect on a first game from Diallo? What do you expect effort-wise? What do you expect?
Well, I think he'll try real hard. I think he'll be nervous. I think he says he probably will be able to handle the situation, but I think our crowd are going to go nuts whenever he's first checking in the game. But I don't know. I haven't really given it a lot of thought. I think it may be easier in some ways to play your first game away from home because you won't feel the pressure of all the crowd expecting so much. But Sheck is going to be a really good player. But I've done this with everybody, and I do this with most freshmen. I think that we should temper expectations a little bit because he's going to be terrific, but he's very, very raw and he's just starting to figure it out. So, but he'll do fine, but he'll be active and energetic and somewhat confused maybe from time to time because he'll be so excited.
When you first found out, was there more of a sense of relief than anything, knowing that he'd get to play?
I would say probably not. When I first found out, it was more of a sense of frustration and anger because he should have been playing all along. And you really think about it, and you think about the NCAA, which they have their reasons for doing what they do. Nobody's doubting that, but we had a chance collectively to do the right thing and make this right for months as opposed to putting the kid in limbo like that. So I don't feel like that anything that was done with the NCAA was done in the best interest of the student athlete at all. And to me, that's what was frustrating because we knew all along. We knew all along what the deal was, and we couldn't get them to hear us or to go into partnership with us to talk about it. So I don't think I was relieved at all. I think it was more like it's about time rather than relieved.
Have you noticed the positive commentary about your stance on this nationally?
No, not.
That and have other coaches said good stuff to you?
Well, I've had several coaches call me saying they've had kids in similar situations. The thing about it is with our situation, and there are more important things going on in life than what's going on with one eligibility case at one university. But to that particular youngster, that is the most important thing going on. So from our standpoint, I think that it was just frustrating because people probably don't understand this. These are these kids' lives. This is what they came to school to do. This is their chance to do something, to go beyond. You look at a young person like Sheck whose family's never been out of Mali, and I don't know what the annual income is of their family or things like that, but this is his opportunity to do some special things for people that have done a lot for him and raised him and his family and the sacrifices that he's made. Think about, you can't talk to your mother or father by phone because it's too expensive to talk by phone, whereas we take that stuff for granted. The way that we're able to utilize our cellular devices, we take stuff like that for granted, and to see that he was able to, if he had not done what needed to be done to be cleared, then that's fine. That's the rules. But if you have done what you needed to do to be cleared, and then they keep saying that you haven't, I think that's where the frustration came in. So fortunately for us, our administration felt the same way that we did, and they fought like hell and weren't going to be denied. And so I know that I applaud our administration. They deserve they're the ones that deserve for fighting for our student athletes because they had to put the money behind it to do so, and certainly with the thought of they're not going to recoup that money. Not that it's significant in the big picture, but it's pretty significant, but people do know that we'll fight, though. That's for sure.
Where does it go from now, Coach? Is there just leave it be and walk away from it now that, or do you want to see some changes made down the road, or?
Oh, do I want to see changes? Oh, yeah. I think a lot of coaches and what is what?
What can KU do now?
I don't know that KU does anything. I think the ball has gotten rolling to the point, and certain things it has been exposed that would make one look at it to see how can we do things better. You know, to me, if I'm a business person, and I am, you know, even if we win a game, you watch the tape to say, hey, how can we improve or how can we get better? I think any business would do that. So if the NCAA were to look at something and say, you know what, we have some holes in this, or maybe a policy here, a policy there, now would be a great time to, at least through the initial eligibility center, to self-evaluate to say how can we improve and how we do some things better. I think if the end result was that there was some improvement that came from that, then I think everybody would be happy. I think all coaches, administrators, presidents, and the NCAA would be happy knowing that the policies and the structure actually works for student athletes as opposed to not working for the good of the student athlete.
Given that he's not from this country, do you have any concern that he will generalize and not trust our culture, or, you know what I mean?
No, you know what? I haven't thought. I guess that's a possibility, but I don't feel that, because he knows that the people around here, the people that he knows and trusts, fought hard for him. So I think he would trust that situation more. I think if somebody were to go to Shaq and say, hey, don't worry about it, I'll figure this out, I think he would trust that more now than what he would if it wasn't figured out. So that may be true in general, Tom, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is locally with the people that he's around every day.
What is the plan with Schneck for tomorrow night? Are you just going to ease him into action here? What, do you guys have any set?
No, I'm not smart enough to have a set plan on what we're going to do. We're going to put him in. He won't start. We'll put him in and play the game just like we normally would. But it would be great to have him get ample minutes and have a chance to play through some mistakes like everybody else has had a chance to. He hasn't.
How much of a head scratcher was this for Diallo? Him being, new to this whole NCAA situation. How new was it to him that he didn't understand what was going on?
Head scratcher is a good word. He didn't have a clue. But the whole thing is we didn't have a clue to tell him. That was what was so frustrating. Hey, give us a reason why. And then when they finally gave us a reason, we were able to disprove that within days. But it was a head scratcher to him. He found out in late April that his school was under review by Kansas. Okay, we told him after we signed him that the school was under review by Kansas. We found out the 1st of September that he did not qualify based on the course evaluations of his classes. And of course, from that point is, Shaq, your classes aren't good. Well, why aren't they good? I did the same thing of everybody else that I went to school with, and they're playing at other schools. Why are mine not good? I made good grades. I didn't do anything wrong. Why are mine not good? We're trying to get that information. And then in November, when they finally showed their hand and showed us that information, that's when I told Shaq, I said, Shaq, just sit tight here, bud. I think everything's going to be just fine. And certainly it played out to be that way.
Is he a guy who could develop into a go-to guy you dump down to, or
No.
will he be helping out in other ways?
No, I don't think he's. I don't think he's going to. He's not Joe now. I mean, he's not Joel from an offensive standpoint at all. He's not near as big, and certainly Joel had gifts that there's only been a few people have gifts like Joe. If he's healthy, he's going to be an NBA All-Star. I mean, he's that good. Shaq is a guy that's very, very, very raw offensively, so he would impact the game differently by being activity, energy, shot blocking, protecting the rim. Those are the ways that he'll impact the game the most. So you will not see a domination from a scoring standpoint with Shaq at all, like you could potentially with some other guys, because that's not who he is. That's not what he does yet. But that doesn't mean he can't develop into somebody like that. But right now, he's He's a runner, jumper, defender, rebounder, and scoring off other misses, and then he can obviously make shots himself. I'm not saying that, but that's not what comes natural to him right now.
Bill, before all this eligibility stuff, when you signed Shaq, did you see him as being sort of a solution for some of the issues you guys had last year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Finishing at the rim
Yeah.
and
Finishing at the rim, that was obviously something that we did a terrible job of. In last year, and then we did a terrible job of in Chicago this year. We were actually better out in Hawaii, but the first half, obviously, their length, Vandy's length, bothered us. But we solved that a little bit the second half. But I envisioned Shaq being a guy that brought something that we did not have last year: rim protector, energy. Great athlete that would give us more of an inside physical presence, even though he's not physical in stature, but he can be an intimidating presence because he's 7'5" this way and he's a quick off his feet and those sorts of things that we really didn't have last year. But our guys from last year have all improved, and Carlton's a good player, so it's just not like there's just 30 minutes a game to give somebody. He's going to have to earn it like everybody else is going to have to earn it, but he does give us an element that I think by January or February could be pretty important down the stretch.
Do you think there's a lot of competition in the front court now?
I think there's competition before, but I think there's a lot of competition. Yeah. I think Carlton Bragg, to me, he was our best big against Vanderbilt, and even though I didn't play him a ton of minutes, but we won the game with Carlton in the game. And so I think there's a lot of competition in the forecourt.
During practice with Shaq, did he practice as if he was playing in games?
No. He practiced as if he's playing in games till about I'd say October 25th, maybe November 1, and then after that we practiced him strictly as a scout team or second team guy. And we thought that was only fair to the rest of the guys to try to get our team as good as we could be.
the offensive rebounding, would that be somewhere? I think your numbers, offensive rebounding, are down a little bit this year. Is that an area you could help you guys?
Yeah, I think so. How you going by percentage of misses? Yeah, he should be able to help us in that area. And I really thought that with Wayne at the 3, we'd be a little bit better rebounding team, and that hasn't taken place yet so far. But I don't think we're a bad rebounding team by any stretch. But I do think that's an area we can certainly improve on.
For the Michigan State game, at the Michigan State game, did you think your team had lost a little confidence but got it back in Maui?
You know what? Michigan State, we didn't play very well the entire game. But if you really dissect that tape, we played better than the outcome. Michigan State's good. And we had an 11-point lead on a really good team late. And then they made all the plays, which, obviously it's more important to make plays the last 5 minutes than it is the first 5 because, they're magnified then. But, you go back, we're up 13 and we foul 3 possessions when they're in the bonus going for an offensive rebound on a free throw. So they don't have to run offense to score 6 points. I mean, we had several things like that kept the lead from inflating, so to speak. And then, of course, they played so much better down the stretch. But I don't know if a lack of confidence was the right word, but I do think that we needed something good to happen. And certainly I thought we were good against Chaminade, even though that really didn't count. We were great. I mean, we haven't had teams like that here play like that the first half against UCLA offensively in a long time, if ever. And then against Vandy, that second half against Vandy, we played pretty well. I mean, we did a lot of good things the second half, and that's missing all our free throws late. So I think it did give us some confidence. Of course, you look at it. Hey, we beat Duke in the Champions deal, and then we go lay an egg in Atlantis. We get hammered by Kentucky last year, and then we go win Orlando. I think there's so much differentiation between teams every 1 to 2 weeks now, more so than what it'll be in January or February, that we could still take steps backwards, but I do think we're on an upward tick right now.
For Diallo to do as well as he did in those 2 All-Star games, those aren't games you think of as hustle play games, but is that why he did so well?
That I'm happy for him that he did well. But if you go back and study the tape on why he did well, is because he tried so hard. Because a lot of times in those games, not everybody competes and tries real hard. So he's one of those guys going to try hard every time. So that to me is a reason why he could set himself apart from some others, just because his effort level. Now at this level, everybody's effort level is going to be comparable to his. So it'll be a lot harder to dominate and play well, unless you have a skill set and you run things through you or whatnot to put you in a position to score 20 a game. We're not going to do that. But he can dominate. I'm telling you, he could dominate a game and score 6 points. He's one of those kind of guys. He could score 6 points, get 8 rebounds, block 4 shots, and totally change the complexion of a game. And people may look at it like he didn't do much. No, that's what he does. And so I'm excited. I'm really excited for him. I'm excited for us, but I'm more so excited for him just to see what he can do when he gets out there.
Can you talk about Devontae's improvement and what he means to the team?
Well, he's probably, if he hadn't shot the ball great going into Hawaii. Obviously, I think he was 4-20 in his first 2 games. But hey, the kid can play. I mean, he's a point guard that's playing off the ball a lot. I don't know how you guys feel, but I love watching he and Frank play together. I mean, to me, it adds a dimension that we haven't had the last 2 years as far as having 2 little playmakers out there. He's not quite as fearless as Frank, but he's not far off as far as driving in there and making big people guard him and trying to make plays over big guys. And he's probably become our best perimeter defender and maybe as solid a kid as we have. So, I'm real pleased with Devontae and his progress so far.
Anybody playing better than Denzel Valentine, Michigan State, that you've seen?
Not that I've seen. You could make a case that Ben Simmons is the most talented kid in the country. I've watched tape on him. But I think as far as actually playing the game, nobody's played better than Valentine. He's had 3 or 4 games of 29 already, and a couple of triple doubles against real competition. I mean, he's really playing well. There's a reason why Michigan State's so good right now.
Do you know Tubby Smith's son real well?
I know Gigi. I don't know about real well, but he was obviously a kid in school when I was coaching Doyle Roberts and Tubby was at Tulsa. So I've known Gigi for a long time, but not on a real personal level. He was a good player. Obviously had a great career at Georgia playing there, and then has been in the business ever since.
Did you schedule it to help out his program?
I don't think so. I mean, we wouldn't want to hurt his program by playing the game, but I don't think that was ever our intention to try to, hey, let's be sure and play Loyola because it really helps them. We want to do what we want to do, but I like playing guys like Gigi that has a chance to help their program by playing here. And of course, his dad is one of the pillars in our profession, and certainly if and a friend. So certainly I hope that Gigi and his team get something out of coming here. I hope it's not at our expense. So,
what are your thoughts on the overall team of Loyola?
From a record-wise, they're not off to a great start, obviously, but they got guys that can score the ball, and they got one cat that can get 30 any night. So, it's with us. We'll certainly scout them just like we do every opponent, but this has been a unique last 3 or 4 days because our team's been really tired, and yesterday's the first day that we've shown any signs of life at all from a competitive spirit standpoint and that kind of stuff. That trip's a hard trip, and so I'm excited to see our guys. I mean, we'll worry about Loyola, don't get me wrong, but I'm excited to see our guys get back to playing the way that we need to be playing because we haven't yet since we've been back.
Bill, it's early on, but your teams in the past have kind of owned the categories of field goal percentage defense and a subjective category of just toughness. What's your early thought on this year's team?
Well, I think field goal percentage defense isn't very good. You stop and think about it. We had chance. I think it's like at 41%, and UCLA we guard the heck out of them the first half. They shoot 59 the second half. I think we've taken our foot off the gas on some things. And, of course, Michigan State the second half, they shot over 50%, well over 50% against us. So I'd say that's been average at best. And toughness probably been average at best because in the games you would think your toughness elements would show more in the second half of games. Pretty easy to be tough when you're fresh and everything in the first half. So I think that's an area we can certainly improve on as well.
Will Green practice?
Yeah, Brandon's practicing. Yeah, he's practicing. He won't play, but he's definitely practicing.
And how did you think Svi played in the tournament?
I thought Svi had a good tournament. I wouldn't go as far as say great because he had a terrible start that last game against Vandy. But I thought he was aggressive. I thought he took shots as they came. I think he's totally bought into the we concept instead of me. But he like against UCLA, he had 9 wide open looks and made 2. I mean, that could easily be a 6 for 9 or 7 for 9 game for him. And against Chaminade, I think he was 6-11 from 3, and that could have even been better. I mean, he's that good a shooter; he can shoot better than that. So I'm excited for him. But I thought it was a big step for him. But I wouldn't consider a great tournament. But he was close to having a great tournament. He just couldn't get shots to fall.
This is another one of those questions where it's early, but you guys have limited turnovers pretty good so far, and you're getting a little more steals. Is that just the Frank and Devontae playing together and kind of how you envisioned?
Yeah, I think our assist to turnover ratio will obviously be better. But that's also okay. So you look at last year's team. You're replacing Devontae for Kelly. So Kelly gives you 6'8" length, loose ball, offensive rebounding, things like that. Devontae doesn't give you that, but Devontae gives you other things from a playmaking. So naturally, if you play 2 little guards, your assist to turnover ratio should be a lot better. I think if I'm not mistaken, they're like 47 and 8 now combined, something like that. And I could be off a little bit, but that's pretty good for a group of guards to have a 5-to-1 or 6-to-1 turnover ratio. So I'm real pleased with those guys. And I think from a steal standpoint, you play 2 little guys that can create a little bit more havoc. I think you should run through more passes and do some more things like that. And we're playing so much faster. I mean, we're playing so much faster than what we ever have since I've been here. I mean, it seems like to me that this is one of the best from defense, from securing the ball, defense to pushing it down the floor of anybody that we've ever had.
Has Sheck stopped texting you since he got the...
No, he texted last night. He wanted to know how he didn't practice. So I said, not even good at all. You got to get better. So no, he was great yesterday in practice. So obviously guys like positive enforcement. So they a lot of times kids ask questions where they know how you're going to answer it. And then if they know they don't like your answer, then they'll never ask you. So he knew how I was going to answer. So he was definitely smart to ask that yesterday.
Do you have a lot of players do that, or does he just like the
No.
feedback?
Sheck's the only one. I mean, I've had players that text me and stuff, but no, Sheck's the only one. But it's a little bit different. Sheck doesn't have, he's got buddies on the team, but for the most part, he didn't have somebody else he can go talk to. He doesn't have a girlfriend, at least that I know of, and he doesn't have, buddies that hang out in the fraternity houses he can go hang with or anything. He doesn't have that. So he's got his boys on his team. He's got his coaches. And so naturally we get a little bit more discussion with him than probably what we would if it was one of our other players that's been here for 2 or 3 years.
I don't want to embarrass Mr. Davis here. I know he's sitting over there. Your thoughts on him retiring after the season? He's been behind that mic for a long time.
Well, the way that everybody's played it up, I thought his last game was just the other day. Geez, I didn't know we get to have a farewell deal for a whole year. He and Kobe Bryant, I guess, Kobe probably got that idea from you, Bob, on how to handle that. But in all sincerity, nobody's better at their craft than what Bob is, and there's a lot of competent employees that work at a lot of different organizations. Of course, at KU, we have our very fair share of guys or ladies that are really good at their craft within our department. But nobody's better at his job, nobody, than what Bob is at his. And so, he's a better guy than he is an announcer, and certainly got a great heart, and he'll be missed. he'll be missed. I applaud him that he can now spend time with the grandkids and do those sorts of things. But I mean, I think it's too young for him to do this. But 4 or 5 years of Greg Gurley would drive me into retirement too. So I certainly understand it. I certainly understand it.
Anything else?
All right, guys. Thanks. We flew out at 7:30, something like that. Yeah, we got back about.